Happy Valentine's Day, Chicago. Welcome to another weekly market update where we're going to cover the latest data and I'll explain how real estate is like love. Stay tuned. Welcome to another local market update with Rick Batista. As always, before we cover the data, we share some fun facts with you. Fun facts, market time. Mortgage rates continued their downward trend with the 30-year fixed rate mortgage averaging 6.09% the week ending February 2nd, according to Freddie Mac. Mortgage rates have declined steadily for the past 4 weeks and are now at their lowest level since their peak in November, when rates hit 7.08%. The drop in rates could save homebuyers hundreds of dollars on their monthly mortgage payments and may provide a boost in home sales ahead of the spring selling season. And before we cover some more local data, just wanted to touch on national data provided by a few different resources. First couple of slides here are going to be from Realtor.com. And this slide is showing us the total listing count across the U.S. Over the last few years, you'll see typical seasonal patterns, but right where we see the red line, you know what happened there. March 2020, pandemic hits, and things started to happen and change at the time and immediately thereafter. People's needs changed. More specifically, they needed something different out of their home. And that really drove buyer activity up. That combined with mortgage rates lowering to the lowest we've seen in a very long time, buyer activity skyrocketed even more. And essentially, we saw the same craziness that we saw with toilet paper flying off the shelves. We must have that. Pay more money? Absolutely. Home inspections? Waived. Now, although as a realtor, I would never recommend our buyer clients to agree to such silliness, but those were simply a sign of the times. And if our client really wanted that home or just a home in general, those were just some of the things that we needed to toss at the seller in order to have a fighting chance at winning a bidding war. Unfortunately, what resulted was there were far more buyers than listings, causing prices to go up. And please note that there are markets outside of Chicago and the burbs that went absolutely insane, even though we saw our fair share of insanity. But overall, and we'll take a look at some of the other data in just a moment. That's why I believe we may not see as much of an impact or as great as an impact as some of the other areas, and especially some of the other metropolitan cities or even other states. But this chart from Realtor.com, nationally speaking, what it's showing us is that inventory was already low going into the pandemic, and now we're even lower. And this next chart is comparing the last 7 Januaries, so we're looking at year-over-year changes. Although the number of homes is increasing, we're still 43.2% lower than pre-pandemic times, looking at 2017 to 2019. And although there may be more inventory in the market, it's still not enough to meet buyer demand, and certainly not enough to be considered a normal market. So what's going on? Well, interest rates have gone up, like we haven't heard that already. And although that's deterred many from buying a home right now, there are still a good deal of serious buyers out there who are active and shopping around. The problem is, although there are more homes to choose from, there's just not enough new inventory hitting the market. And data side, just from our own experience, we're seeing many homes that are not what buyers are looking for, whether it's a single family home, be it detached or attached, or even multi-units. Many first-time buyers are looking to either purchase a multi-unit property, 2 to 4 flat, where they can live in one unit and rent out the rest to help pay the mortgage. Or there's even some families or friends who are looking to buy a multi-unit to live in together to be close to one another and have nearby resources and help for whatever reasons. So, like I said, a lot of buyers are looking, but they're not seeing the properties that they want, at least not at the asking price that the sellers are looking to get. And maybe it's just because it's Valentine's Day and Valentine's week, but I honestly have always said that real estate is very much like love. No matter how many times our heart's been broken, we just keep on coming back for more. Why? Because we think it's going to be different the next time. And we just need somewhere to live. And like with any relationship, sometimes they work out and we're content and in it for many years. And other times we can't wait to break up and just need to find a way out. I believe a lot of that has to do with how well we prepare ourselves to be in that relationship. What does that mean when it comes to buying a home? Getting our credit on the right track, in a solid financial position, being the right frame of mind and keeping our emotions in check, having realistic expectations going into the process, knowing who we are, what we can offer, and what we expect from our partner. Falling in love with a person or a home is essentially the same premise. Be grounded, have your shit together, love unconditionally, and have open communication to either keep that relationship going and find a way to make it work. And when it's time to move on, never looking back or being bitter because you know you gave it your all. Well, I'm certainly no therapist, and I don't pretend to play one on TV, but as a real estate professional, I'm going to tell you this. Buyers, you're going to have to put a little bit more work into the relationship. It's going to take time and patience. Stay strong. Have a good support team, starting with your broker and your lender, and you will find the one. You'll find that home that meets your needs, and hopefully one that you'll be in love with for years to come. Now, sellers, this is a time of self-reflection. This is the role that you have in this equation, and when it comes to the buyer-seller relationship. You might be asking yourself, why am I the last one being asked to dance? Well, having seen so much inventory out there, many are not being true to themselves. Let's just face the reality. Many properties have been neglected over the years. Whatever the situation may be. Certainly not judging anyone. It could have been just financial circumstances or personal circumstances where you can afford to make the improvements needed to keep the property in tip-top shape. Or even the way that it is now, it's managed to serve your needs all these years or even over the last few decades. The problem is, buyers, whether it's their own financial situation or their own expectations, overall buyers are looking for something that's a little bit more turnkey. In every situation, no. When you are asking a beyond fair price, yes, it should be a little bit more turnkey. And what it boils down to is simply this. If you could possibly take a tour of your home and be completely unbiased, as much as humanly possible, what updates need to be done? Just take a look around your home. What updates need to be done? What updates do you know need to be done? I mean, there's plenty of resources out there to take a look at properties that are on the market right now. You see what they're selling for. There's so much information for buyers and sellers now that used to be locked behind the MLS that only brokers would hold the key to. But now you have access to this information. You have this data. You have these resources. Take a look at it. Compare that to your property. What updates does your home need? What updates would you like to do? Same things that you just haven't done. Whether, again, you didn't have the funds or just never got around to do it. Now you consider all of that and ask yourself, how much would you pay for your property? If you were a buyer, not the seller, not the homeowner, not somebody who's lived there for a year or 20, 30, 40, 50 years, how much would you pay for your home? If that's hard to do, ask a friend or a relative or even a realtor to come by and be as brutally honest as possible, providing constructive criticism that's going to help you achieve your own personal goals. Listen, don't get offended, and use those words to do what is best for you and your situation. The market we're in, and heck, even the times that we're in, it's going to take a lot of hard work, and that's just unavoidable. The coming years, if not the next decade at least, aren't going to be for the weak of heart. Together, I believe that we can keep the market, the economy, and our communities flowing toward a positive direction where many, if not most, can benefit and thrive. So, get off my soapbox and get back to the information and data. If we take a look at this next map, we're looking at year over year. We certainly do have more inventory for the most part across the country. Looking at all the dark blue, it does mean that we have more inventory in that particular state, many states, if you're watching and not listening, more inventory than this time last year. But as we look at the next map, we're looking at month over month. We're seeing inventory is starting to dip down. And I'm sure that's just, that's just the time of year, and that's bound to change. Very likely will change come the spring market in the next weeks, because we're almost there. Haven't seen the first robin yet here in Chicago, but I'm sure we will soon. We'll just have to wait and see how the spring market unfolds. Looking at this next chart, it's going to be supported by another map. This is information that's sourced by CoreLogic. 2022's Q3 home equity report shows that the average equity gain for U.S. homeowners with mortgages was $34.3 thousand. Year-over-year total increase in equity for U.S. homeowners with mortgages, collectively $2.2 trillion. And year-over-year percentage increase in equity for U.S. homeowners with mortgages, 15.8%. And as we look at this next map that has information based on data from FHFA, we see the percent change in home prices throughout each individual state, and the national average was 60.6. Here in Illinois was a 38.7% change. And comparing to some of the other markets like Arizona, Nevada, you see nearly 75, 90, almost 90 in Arizona, and in Utah, 61% in Texas. There were states that had 82% in Tennessee, 65.5% in Indiana. A lot of states throughout the country had far larger increases than Illinois as a whole. And I would say that's pretty accurate for Chicago and Chicagoland, nearby burbs. That's why I've been saying week after week, for many reasons, the nation is going to face a housing bubble, as many think or thought, but especially here in Chicago and Chicagoland area. I think we're fairly safe from that. Can't predict the future, but overall, looking at the data, doesn't seem like that's something that we have to fear at this point in time. Now let's jump to the fun stuff, the numbers. From all the fun facts to quick facts, we're looking at year-over-year changes, and this is information and data provided by the Chicago Association of Realtors for week ending February 4th, current as of yesterday, February 13th. New listings for detached single-family homes was down 13.2% year over year, while attached being condos and townhomes down by 41.7%. Under contract, detached down by 15.8%, attached down by 31.4%. Year-over-year change for homes for sale in the detached market continues to be up 16.6%, and attached down by 24%. Diving a little deeper, new listings, we finished the week of February 4th with 256 detached single-family homes on the market, bringing us to a 3-month average of 247. Attached, we wrapped up the week with 396, 3-month average of 302, down year-over-year nearly 30%. Under contract, in the detached market, we saw 192 homes with a 3-month average of 123, bringing us to a year-over-year change of nearly 33% less. And attached 302 with a 3-month average of 186 with a drop-off year-over-year of just over 38%. With inventory of homes for sale, we wrapped up the week of February 4th with 2,329 single-family detached homes, bringing us to a 3-month average of 2,650, an increase year-over-year of 12.6%, and the attached market 3,104 with a 3-month average of 3,625, with the year-over-year change dropping down to 24.4%. So I know we've covered a lot of information and data here, and what does it mean for you? I have no idea. It all depends on what your situation is. If you've been renting for a while and you know those rent prices are going up in Chicago and really seeing it go up in the nearby suburbs, it might make sense to buy something. Even if you are only planning to stick around for a few years, this is a better time to buy for somebody who is planning to be around for 5, 7, 10 years in the same property, if not more. Real estate is certainly a long game, but might make a lot more sense if you're paying about the same, if not less, in a mortgage than you are renting. Might want to consider buying. So if you are thinking of buying, or we've talked about all the equity that's out there across the country and certainly here around Chicagoland, that may be the case for you, whether it's in Chicago or the suburbs. If you're thinking of selling, or you know somebody who is, please contact us to start a conversation. Maybe you've outgrown your home and need or want some more space. Maybe you have too much home now and you need to downsize because you don't want to deal with the responsibility and expense of having a larger home. Maybe even purchased within the last couple of years, even though it's not that long ago. You might have a little bit of buyer's remorse and you rushed into a property that doesn't meet your needs and maybe not have met your needs at the time, but just kind of got caught up in the frenzy of things and bought something that you're just not happy with anymore. And in some cases, it might make sense for somebody to sell and just rent, especially if you don't want the responsibilities of home ownership. We're here to have a meaningful conversation with you. And that's all we're asking for, a conversation. Let me assure you that we will never, ever, ever push you to buy or sell something unless we hear you out. And we believe that it makes sense for you and your current and future needs and goals. Plenty of ways to reach out and start that conversation. You can call, text, email. All that information is below. If you're still here and you watched all the way to the end, appreciate your time. I know it could be spent doing something else, but we appreciate you being here. Doing our best to keep people informed and know that we're always here to help you with your next move. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll catch you next week.